Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome an accomplished professional and leader talking to us today from Austin, Texas, USA, Mr. Mark Steiner. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ashutosh.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Mark is the co founder and CEO of GigSalad. Mark, you've had a fascinating career journey from acting and running a craft services company to becoming a talent agent and then co founding GigSalad.
Yes,
Looking
sir.
back, what are some pivotal moments that shaped your path?
Oh, that is such a loaded question. Um, you know, I, I was one, Ashutosh, who wanted to do something great in my life
Hmm.
from a
Hmm.
very early age. I always imagined something very big for myself. I'm not sure if I've accomplished that yet. In fact,
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure I haven't.
Yeah.
But I've always strove for something to something that I was going to be excellent at,
Mm.
exceptional at. And so my dreams have inspired me. I live in a sort of dream state most of the time. That sounds probably weird, but I'm constantly imagining and envisioning, what am I doing now? What is next? And it's always something bigger and more. And I'm not sure that's entirely good or
Hmm.
healthy,
Hmm.
but I know that I had visions of wanting to be, um, you know, famous for some reason.
Hmm.
And that was a time ago. I hope that I've matured and have lived beyond that in my adult life now. But still, the driving force for me has been that I wanted to do something big and be around, be in a business, be in an industry that was kind of not your average or ho-hum sort of industry. So
Hmm.
I was always been drawn to entertainment,
Hmm.
music, film, and I pursued that, and I've made a career of it. So I think the pivotal points have been one, having tremendous support from my parents,
Hmm.
who allowed me at a very young age. I grew up in New Jersey, and at a fairly young age, I mean, before I could drive, I was getting on buses. I would get on a bus or a train and head into New York City to start to explore my ideas, being
Very interesting.
one to be an actor. So
Yeah.
I'd say just taking big steps and leaps and doing sort of the uh, abnormal or the unordinary,
Mm.
and it's paid off. I'm not sure if I was specific enough there, but
Fascinating. No, great response. But you describe yourself as someone who leads from the gut with compassion and emotional intelligence. How did
yes.
you discover and develop this leadership style?
It is entirely innate. It is me. It is
Mm.
these few facts are, I think, systematic or what who I am. One, I'm adopted, and for whatever that is, I I think I had a distinct, unique desire to connect with people.
Hmm.
And, of course, my parents, first and foremost, I needed to make sure that my parents knew how much I loved them and how much I needed them
Yeah.
because I didn't want to be abandoned. I didn't want to be
Hmm.
rejected
Yeah.
again, which
Yeah.
is not the story, but that's the narrative I had in my head. So I'm adopted.
Hmm.
So for me, everything has always been about feeling and emotion. How does
Hmm.
something make me feel? How are other people feeling? How is what I say or do making other people feel how they do?
Hmm.
And again, I've grown out of a lot of this, but still the traits,
Right.
the the inspiration for all that has come from a need for need, to be needed or to be loved. And so, and then later in life,
Mm-hmm.
in the past 2 or 3 years, I got diagnosed with ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I've now come to learn about this condition that I didn't know I had most of my life, I knew there was something different about me, about the way I thought,
Mm-hmm.
and the way I processed, that everything again was based in this sort of core gut um, way of connecting.
Mm.
And I feel like in that way, I've always been an empath, and I have my intuition and instinct has always been really strong, and I've not
Mm.
known anything else. Let's put it
Fascinating.
that way. I've not ever
Yeah.
considered myself intellectual, so
Mm.
I've not been able to think my way through things. I've always been a person who feels things, and I feel things
Fascinating.
strongly.
Thank you for sharing this. Thank you. Mark, let's now talk about GigSalad, which is an online event marketplace. What was the original spark that led you to co-found GigSalad?
Well, I worked 10 years in the movie business,
Yeah.
and that's while I lived in New York City from 1984 to 1994. And in
Mm.
94, I had gotten married in 1991, and in 1994 we had moved me and my wife moved to Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
And that now threw a commute on top of working in the movies. So I got out of the movie business and I was offered an opportunity to work for a small boutique agency that my friend was running.
Mm.
And I enjoyed it very much. I think I was a good agent. In fact, I think I was somewhere between a good and a great agent.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked there for 7 years, and I honed my craft, and I was trained well. I was mentored well by my friend, and well, I don't know if this is the case for everybody, but in my case,
Mm-hmm.
being an entrepreneur, I would always question things and think, well, that could be done better. If this was mine, I'd do it this way as opposed to that way. And I left that small boutique agency and started my own agency. This was in 2001,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a friend create a website for me, um, and I started to get contacted. People were using the internet in this industry, kind of for the not the first time, but it was fairly early on. And I was getting reached out to by what I refer to as local regional entertainers and performers. People,
Mm-hmm.
not the national touring acts and the
Right.
celebrities and the headliners that I was accustomed to working with. This
Mm.
was more local, uh, you know, local cover bands that play weddings, and violinists that play weddings, and clowns that play kids' birthday parties, and on and on. And that wasn't my industry. That wasn't my business model. Let's put it that way. And but there was an opportunity for me.
Mm.
So I
Mm.
talked to my friend who had designed the website,
Mm.
Steiner Talent, and he and I started to conceptualize what can we do with this information.
Mm.
This is a problem for me in that I want to help these people, but it's not within the realm of or scope of what I had been doing.
Mm.
But maybe just maybe there's a way of serving them too, and perhaps creating a business out of it. And
Mm.
that was really the
Amazing.
nucleus of it all.
Amazing. But in any kind of a marketplace, trust is very critical. What strategies has Gig Salad used to build credibility between clients and talent?
My promise as a talent agent, as a booking agent, was always that I was building my business based on trust.
Mm-hmm.
Trust that if you work with me, I'm not going to gouge you. I'm not going to have you pay more than what would be an industry standard.
Mm-hmm.
And and I want to provide for you a service that is easy. I want to provide for you a service that gives you what it is you're searching for. And if you don't know exactly what that is, that
Mm-hmm.
I'm educated enough and experienced enough that I can make recommendations.
Right.
And then once in the end, I want all parties to be happy. I
Hmm.
want to be satisfied and happy because I got a commission. I want you, the event planner, the promoter, the person who, booked the entertainment through me to be happy and satisfied that your event went well, it sold well, it was well received. I want the talent to be happy. I want the
Hmm.
talent to have played a had done a great performance or had a great event, and everybody got paid well, well enough to satisfactory. Everybody was content, and that same philosophy is what I have tried to do in everything that I've ever done. I have your best interest at heart. I truly want you to have had a good experience with me. That's going back to my original what we talked about. Like
Yeah.
I would never want the end result to be somebody that was dissatisfied with me and what I
Hmm.
brought to the
Very
equation.
interesting.
So I brought that same philosophy to Gig Salad. It
Very
was, hey,
interesting.
listen, if we do this together, if we work as a partnership, you do well, we'll do well, we'll keep doing this.
Very
And that's
interesting.
really it.
Yeah. But,
Heart.
with the rise of digital and virtual events, how are you adapting to all this technology and how are customer expectations beginning to change?
Well, interestingly, I'm not a technology person.
Hmm.
This is not my forte. I've learned over the years, but more importantly, I've surrounded myself with really smart people
Right.
and people that do whatever they do
Hmm.
really well. And that is the case with my current business partner. He is somebody that we gave equity to early on, and he's now my sole partner. We bought out my co-founder, Steve. So what I have in Locke Bircher, my chief technology officer, and that whole department, the all of our developers, extremely smart people. So
Hmm.
if there's a question or concern or there's something that we should, in terms of innovation and making sure that we are current, I rely a great deal on them. I
Hmm.
read a lot. I will bring ideas to them. They've probably already thought about it. They've probably already considered it. They've vetted that idea. We're either working towards it or they decided it's not good for us.
Right.
But that was the first, let's call it 15 years or 17, 18 years. Now, over the past 2 or 3 years with AI,
Hmm.
it's very fast. It
Hmm.
like us, we are trying to figure out how we are going to implement AI into all aspects of our
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
And that includes both how we work internally, what is it within the platform that we're offering to our customers and clients, our members. And so it's I'm trying to stay on top of it by being a somewhat early adapter to AI.
Hmm.
I keep hearing, learn a little bit because whatever you can learn now will make a huge difference
Correct.
later. And that's what
Correct.
I'm trying to do. I'm confident that
Fascinating.
the rest
Yeah.
of my team is already
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But tell me, do you ever think that technology will replace in-person live experiences, or do you think they will all coexist?
oh, I hope not. I can't imagine if that ever happens. Recently uh, there was a creation of a new actress, a new AI actress. I'm not sure if you've
Hmm.
heard about
I've
this
read
just in
about,
the
yeah.
past week or two, and it's caused a lot of stir within the entertainment industry. I
Hmm.
happen to be a SAG-AFTRA actor, and the idea, the notion that a digitally created uh, performer, entertainer could be made
Hmm.
that you may be able to make someone look a certain way,
Hmm.
even speak a certain way,
Yeah.
act a certain way, but it not for that to not be coming from heart and soul and experience. Um, you know, it kind of grosses me out that we would be that as a society it could even be considered. And unfortunately, I think there's some pushback or a
Mm,
lot of pushback. Uh, trying to protect our, you know, uh, protect our personal, our intellectual property, because obviously everything about that creation is coming from something else.
mm,
It could be argued that as an actor is pulling from other actors all the time and life
mhm,
and whatnot, but that's an internal, it's a human thing.
mm.
It's not a machine.
Yeah,
And so I'm not concerned because I believe in us. I believe in human spirit. I believe in human soul.
mhm,
And I also know that if it ever came to that point, it's all over. I
yeah,
mean, what's left at that point?
mm,
That's how I look at it.
mm. Very interesting. How has Gig Salad impacted the lives of artists and entertainers who use your platform?
Oh, it's been we launched in 2007,
Mm,
and in 2007, I'm not sure if this was worldwide or not, but certainly in the States, we went through a major, it was a recession. It was a big,
yeah.
big deal. I'm sure it was
Mm,
everywhere.
mhm,
However, we launched when that happened,
mhm.
and um, and we got through it. And my philosophy about that is that in good times and in bad times, in challenging times, in rough times, going back as far as the Depression and probably before that, um, there's the desire to be entertained, the desire to escape whatever is going, whatever's happening in life, whatever reality is, and you want to alter that by going and uh, finding your way through a story, through
Mm,
entertainment, through music, through film, whatever. Um, that will always be. I think that will always be something where arts will ground people and give people a sense of peace and
mm.
tranquility. And so that was in 2007. And then, there was various challenges, and then COVID. And again, we got through it as an event
Yeah.
service platform. Not only did we made it, we survived. And that told me that again, people are going to be innovative. Santa Claus started appearing on this on computers. People were going to figure it out.
Mm,
And so I've had the good fortune of having our members on the platform say things like, "Thank God for Gig Salad. You have put
mhm.
food on our tables.
Wow.
You put a roof over our heads. Because of Gig Salad, I've been able to make an income. I've been able to make a living, and I'm doing something I love." That impact, that having that influence, and that having created something that gives to people in that way,
Mm,
thrills me. Not to mention that the event planners that use Gig Salad are using us for their major life events.
mm.
Everything from wedding proposals to weddings to anniversaries to first births of children and on, and corporate events.
Yeah.
I mean, funerals, and so every part of a human's lifeline, GigSalad can potentially have a part in, and
Absolutely.
it's thrilling. It's
Absolutely. Fascinating.
making memories and making
Fascinating.
experiences.
Correct. I have time for one more question for you, Mark. How
Sure.
do you balance being a visionary risk taker with making sure the company stays grounded and sustainable?
Hmm. They keep me tethered.
Uh-huh.
I've surrounded myself with really smart, as I said, really smart people, people that trust me,
Mm-hmm.
but I trust them too.
Mm.
And I can come in with 100 new ideas every morning
Hmm.
before breakfast. Hey guys, let's do this.
Hmm.
And I fortunately have people that say, maybe not yet, Mark, or can we finish that thing you had us do, you had to start yesterday or last year?
Hmm.
And I'm up here, head in the clouds, dream, as I said, full circle here, dreaming
Hmm.
and envisioning, and I have other people that are able to execute some of these things on my behalf.
Hmm.
And then some of the other things they say, yeah, maybe not, Mark. It's not as good of an idea as you might think it is.
Hmm.
Um, so I think the balance comes from experience as well. I
Yeah.
think over time I've learned that maybe not every idea needs to be even tried,
Hmm.
or not every idea is good. But every once in a while, of my 100 ideas, maybe one of them is worth pursuing, and
Fascinating.
and and
Fascinating.
and every once in a while something could be great. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. But on that note, Mark, I just want to say what a fascinating journey you've had, and what an amazing conversation you and I have had about your journey, about you as an individual. Thank you for sharing with me some of your deep thoughts about your own vulnerabilities. Thank you for talking to me at such length about Gig Salad and the amazing work you are doing for all the creative people in the US in different fields. Thank you again for speaking to me, and good luck to you.
thank you, Ashutosh.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.